Фіні Понні Тейлз.
Knock, knock. The day that everything changed began like any other. As usual, I was woken up by the sound of my shiny brass alarm clock going off. As usual, I groaned and clamped the pillow over my head in the hope of getting 5 minutes more asleep. Dad called me precisely 33 seconds later, as he usually did, to tell me that breakfast was ready. And I drew get downstairs, drowsily, in the usual way to eat. I set off for school. Shortly afterwards, only to be called back by Dad, who pointed out that I was still wearing my pajama. But I'm glad to say wasn't usual at all. I quickly flung on the right clothes, then dashed the rest of the way to school, hoping that I wouldn't get into trouble for being late. I did. In the hours that followed, I was shouted at the 3 times for starting out of a window, daydreaming about dragons. When I was meant to be learning why some places have volcanoes and some don't, I got into more trouble when Stanley Jenkins, who'd recently been electric head bully, dropped a worm down the back of my neck in the middle of a spelling test, making me jump to my feet with a scream. Ah! The teacher demanded to know what was going on. Stanley Jinx said that I'd begged him to do it to help cure my hiccups. The teacher, being very bit as stupid as Stanley Jinx, believed him. That moment the bell rang to set me free. I grabbed my bag and ran home happily it was. I still don't know the reason, like I said, wasn't paying attention. The end of another week, I couldn't wait to sit down with my dad in front of the TV with our regular Friday night support of fish and chips. Problem. No. 1. When I got home, there were no chips waiting on the table. Problem. No. 2. There wasn't no fish either. Problem no 3. There wasn't also no dad, which when I thought about it, probably explaining the first 2 problems, I called his name. Dad! No answer. I checked every room. The house was empty. Then Stanley Jinx's brain. That wasn't like Dad, not at all. He was always waiting for me when I got home, and he always asked me the same question. How was school today? Trying not to worry, I kicked off my shoes and down on the sofa to flick channels while I waited for him to return. I must have nodded off because the next thing I remembered it was nearly dark and there was a loud knocking at the door. Knock, knock, knock. Dad! I said, jumping up and rubbing my eyes in confusion. Where have you been? I opened the door to see this standing outside on the doorstep.